Welcome to Blueprint Boost for Contractors, the podcast that's your go-to source for unlocking the secrets to successful marketing, gaining valuable insights, and growing your contracting business with less stress. Your host is David Brooks, and he's thrilled to be your guide on this journey. As a seasoned expert in the contracting industry, David understands the challenges you face. That's why each episode is crafted to provide you with actionable strategies and proven blueprints to boost your business to new heights.
Hello, we'd like to welcome everyone to another episode of the podcast. Today we have another guest with us, and I'll allow him to introduce himself.
Hello, thanks, David. This is Paul Carmody. I'm the President of Successware, and I'm just honored to be here today.
Nice to have you, Paul. Appreciate you taking the time out to be with us.
Absolutely.
So can you tell us a little bit about your background and your journey?
Sure, yeah. So Successware itself is a software as a service company that focuses on home services industry. So electrical, plumbing, HVAC, those are our typical customers. Successware as a company has been around for almost 30 years. We were kind of the first game in town on kind of the business in a box for these types of businesses. My personal background, I've been with Successware for about coming up on 2 years here. And I've mostly been in the technology area, software as a service, internet infrastructure, hosting, that sort of thing. And I've just been honored to be part of the Successware team for the last 18 to 20 months.
Excellent. That's a great overview and background. And now that you've been at Successware for about 2 years now, what are the main challenges that you have seen that home service companies face?
Sure. So, I mean, if I think about the market, there are kind of different groupings of businesses. So I would call it, if you have between 1 to 4 technicians out in the field, you're kind of just getting started. Then there's kind of a scaling phase as you kind of move from about 5 to 12 technicians, where the processes are sort of strained and stretched, and you have to have different ways of operating. And then kind of once you get above the 12 techs, there's a sort of a different set of activities around sort of profitability and such. So when I think about what Successware really does for these businesses is we help those businesses that have the smaller number of techs grow into the bigger number of techs by doing a bunch of different things that are kind of helpful for them as they're sort of trying to grow. And if it makes sense, I can kind of talk through what I think those key elements are.
Yeah, sure. No, I definitely think it makes sense to talk through those key elements.
Sure. So I like to use analogies and acronyms to keep things in mind. So my mnemonic device is GLASS, like when you GLASS. If you think about how to scale a business, right, use GLASS. And what I mean by that is you got to set goals, right? If you don't set goals, you're not going to grow. That's just generally what happens. But once you set a goal to grow, the L part is leads. You got to feed that lead machine, right? You got to have new jobs coming in, people calling you, people asking for appointments over the internet. You got to have leads. But once you have the leads, then comes the A part, the accountability. And what I mean by accountability is you got to take care of the customer. You got to be accountable for fixing their problem. Because once you do, they're a customer for the longer term. And then that's something that you really want in your business is lower cost of repeat customers versus finding new ones. And then the 2 S's. First S is streamline. As I mentioned, as you go from 1 to 4 techs to 5 to 12 to 12 plus techs, you got to streamline those processes to keep all those parts coordinated. And then the last S is see yourself in the mirror, right? So that means take a look, see what's going on, make adjustments, analyze, right? So that's GLASS.
That's an excellent breakdown of that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And like you said, see yourself in the mirror, right? Glass. Really taking in a good reflection of the business's current state. Where does it stand, and what do you need to be able to help move it forward?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think a lot of people sort of either they don't have the capabilities to see themselves in the mirror, right? If you think about a business, the capabilities you need are, what are all the data elements? How are we doing? How are the leads doing? How are the jobs closing? What's our average ticket size? So you have to have the data, but then you actually have to sit there and actually look at the data to figure out what decisions you're going to make. And a lot of that breaks down into personal discipline, but also from a system standpoint, do you have the reports that reflect the data in a meaningful way so that you can decide how things are trending and then make decisions to move forward in different ways if necessary.
Oh, excellent. And when we talk about reporting, can we talk about reporting capabilities? Because that's often overlooked, and a lot of times where it's, as a business owner, I've seen it and heard it many times. Or I have a feeling about this. I have a feeling about this, but it's no actual reporting to support
Yeah.
the feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dave, you're completely correct. So first, as a baseline comment, what I would say is, you've certainly heard garbage in, garbage out, right? So, the actual information that goes into your system needs to be correct, so the reports that you get out are reflecting what's actually going on. So making sure you take the time to set up the system to capture the right data, that's one aspect. The second aspect that we found that is often neglected in these particular industries is people still like to print out stuff, right? So they actually, it's a lot of reporting packages don't do a good job of printing anymore because they expect you're going to do everything online. But we've specifically designed things in order to print stuff out as you need it. And then the next bucket of things I would say is there's a combination of both sort of tabular reporting, so kind of data intensive reporting. You kind of think of like information and columns that you need, and then sort of graphical reporting. How do you kind of visualize what's going on to kind of see trends and things? And Successware, we support all of that because we want to have a 360 holistic view of your business so that you can truly see yourself in the mirror and make adjustments if you need to.
And that's good, being able to have that holistic view, that 360 view, to be able to get a full snapshot of what's going on inside of the business is so crucially important, because that's when you can see the real data and the analytics and the things behind it, and it can help you in decisions for as hiring, maybe different other aspects of the business where you may be able to have the need to expand.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think one of the other things that we try to support is you think about seeing yourself in the mirror, and if you want to make adjustments, maybe one of the things you want to make adjustment is how you price things, or maybe you want to make an adjustment in terms of what types of maintenance agreements you supply. And so one of the things that we try to really do in Successware is make those elements flexible so they can fit how you want to serve your customer, right? So you can make yourself unique. So if you see yourself in the mirror, you have options to change yourself in ways that are distinctive from the competition.
Oh, excellent. And when we talked about reporting. Now, also let's talk about integration. What does Successware offer as far as integration with other tools that home service businesses may be using?
Yeah, absolutely. So, integrations are important, right? So, the system can't do everything. So it's impossible if you think about the range of all the capabilities you possibly want, it would be foolish to try and build everything into one piece of software. So we have multiple integrations. Good examples of integrations that people use is they might use something like PulseM. So PulseM would do something like manage your reviews on something like Google after a particular visit, or it might text a customer in advance of a tech arriving, something like that. We have lots of integrations with other types of systems that help from a marketing perspective. They help from a fleet management or vehicle tracking perspective. So we try and keep Successware open so that people, if they have different widgets that they need for different aspects of their business, can integrate with our software.
Mhm. That's excellent. No, integration, like you said, the software can't do everything, so being able to have those integration features is definitely important.
Yeah, and actually, maybe one other area I'll highlight is, especially smaller businesses. One of the most important things is how do I answer the phone when I'm not working, right? So, someone has a HVAC emergency or a plumbing emergency at 10 o'clock at night. They call you. What happens, right? I guarantee you, if it rolls to voicemail, that lead is gone. They're going to call somebody else. And so we have integrations with call center companies and things like that can book appointments for you directly in Successware when you're sleeping, right? So the ability to be responsive to leads, 24/7 is an important aspect of growing and something that we focus on supporting.
Oh, excellent. And like you said, you don't want to miss that opportunity to miss out on a lead, right? So it's vitally important.
Exactly. It's hard enough to get them. You got to make sure you turn them into happy customers who are going to wind up paying your business.
Yes, no, definitely. You want to keep the customers happy.
Absolutely.
Now, talking about the, different features, what are some other features that really can benefit a home service business that Successware offers?
Yeah, absolutely. So if I kind of think about it sort of front to back, so the first is we do have a fully integrated online booking system. So I gave the example just now of a call center taking a call on your behalf, but a lot of times, especially with younger generations, they're going to want to book that service online, and so we have a fully integrated, configurable online booking system that puts new jobs directly on your dispatch board. If a customer does call in, one of the things we try and do is enable frontline call center representatives to be as effective as possible. So we have a way of doing detailed call scripting based on job classes, job types. So you think about it's an electrical job and I need to replace an electrical panel. You can have a specific script for that versus someone who calls in and says, I have an HVAC problem and I have no cooling going on. So you can have very specific scripts so that your CSRs actually respond exactly as you want them to do. The next thing that we have is a very intuitive way of identifying time slots on your dispatch board that are available for a particular type of job and for particular techs that have those skills. And so it helps actually place those jobs in the right time slots to be serviced correctly. The other thing that's really important about Successware and the thing that we're known for in the industry is we have fully integrated accounting. So if you think about most small businesses would use something like an accounting package, like a QuickBooks, they would also separately use a field service management system. We're actually a fully integrated package. So when you go through, take a call, put it on the dispatch board, send a tech out, the tech does the job. All the accounting happens directly in Successware. So it's one system that keeps all that information together in a way that you don't have to worry about bookkeeping, but you have all the data there to see yourself in the mirror at the end of glass so you can see how things are going.
That's excellent. Those are really good capabilities and features that are really beneficial for home service business to be able to have, and being able to have that under the all one umbrella is really great for streamlining processes and also being able to get that data that we talked about earlier.
Absolutely. We are unique in the industry for this particular aspect, so we're very proud of it.
Mhm. Excellent. And what kind of training and support does Successware offer? We know sometimes it may be hard to navigate, going through a new field management program and trying to get everything in there. So what help do you provide for home service business owners?
Yeah, good question. I actually kind of answer that in reverse order. So if you think about you're already running on the software, you call in for customer support. So, we both have, voice support, we've got chat support, we've got a full knowledge base. I think if you ask Successware customers, how do they feel about our customer support? I would say the vast majority of them give us a huge thumbs up. We really prided ourselves on providing good customer support. If we then move sort of one step, closer to kind of acquiring the software and things like that, is we do have training that we spend a lot of time on in terms of structuring it, making it intuitive, giving our customers a chance to learn the functionality of the system. When we're implementing the system, we actually have a user acceptance phase or a testing phase. So the way we implement a customer is we train you, we then take all your data and we put it into the system, and then you can play around with it for a little bit of time, do your processes till you get familiar with them before you go live. And then if I go all the way to the front end, how is the software designed? We're putting a huge focus on usability to try and make it more intuitive to use for power users in particular to be able to do their jobs efficiently. So we want the combination of all three of those things: customer support, training, intuitive usability of the software to work together to make our customers successful.
Excellent. That's great. And all those things are that you have in place are really beneficial for just being able to get things up and running and off the ground. And it's really nice to see because you have some softwares and you sign up and it's crickets, or you're kind of just left to your your own to figure out how to make those changes. So that is really good to be able to have that support.
Absolutely. I mean, we're definitely not one of the, we're not a company where we expect customers to do it all themselves. We're there to support them. And I think customers generally are, let's call it voting with their pocketbooks. I mean, many of our customers have been here for 10 years, 15 years, even 20 years on the system because they like what it does for them.
Excellent. Nope. Longevity and being able to have customers stick around for that long just shows the value in the software.
Absolutely.
Now, pivoting a little bit now, as businesses are really trying to grow, how does Successware help support that growth?
Yeah. So the first thing is, I would say that the system itself has no bounds. So what I mean by that is, we have customers that have two techs and we have customers that have hundreds of techs, right? And so we basically allow you to scale seamlessly along that spectrum from small to big. We also allow, if you think about using a very small company, maybe you have one person working on the dispatch board, right? So a call comes in, they put it on the dispatch board. But with customers that have multiples of techs, so dozens of techs, hundreds of techs, we have the ability to use the dispatch board with multiple different operators operating on different at the same time without clashing with each other, assigning the right techs to particular jobs. The other thing that we do that I think is probably not talked about enough is if you think about a tech out in the field, that tech is a professional in his or her trade, a professional HVAC maintenance person or electrician or something like that. But that person is not a software engineer. And so we really worked hard to make our mobile application. So there's a web-based back office application, but there's a mobile application that those techs use to make it as intuitive as possible. So it's simple enough to use, but complex enough to do everything that you need to do when you're out in the field. And that helps from a scaling perspective. So there's a very limited training, for example, needed to bring a tech on board to the mobile aspect. And a lot of the training is focused on the back office users, which are generally a much smaller pool. So if you think about our typical customer, you might have, 10 techs in the field to kind of 2 or 3 back office people, that sort of thing.
Excellent. No, thank you for that overview and being able to provide that to us. Now, as you know, home service companies are starting to grow, and they're able to scale from whether it's 4 technicians to whether it's 20 plus technicians. When we think about being able to not only support that growth, but it also comes with improvements and maybe features and different add-ons. Successware planning to roll out anything within the next 2 years?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things that we think that we can do even better for our customers, and I mentioned the mobile application, the back office application, is have a more robust and seamless sales workflow. And what I mean by that is, particularly as you get larger, you have technicians that are doing jobs, but you also, if you're in the HVAC industry, you have something called comfort advisors. Sometimes in the electrical industry, you have safety advisors, but these are essentially sales people who are selling jobs who are not technicians doing jobs, right? So you have a mixture of opportunities and jobs, and you want to be able to create opportunities. You want to flow them to the tech for execution. If the tech identifies opportunities, to flow them back to the back office in a way that's sort of seamless front to back. And then you want to have a more robust way of presenting those offers in front of the homeowner. So one of the things that really drives adoption rates by homeowners is an impressive way of presenting an estimate or quote or something like that. So sales workflow is one of those things that we're really working on. I think the second area is related to overall marketing. So when I mean, marketing attribution, a call comes in, a lead comes in from the web, how do you make sure you appropriately attribute that? How do you track those things? And we're also unique in the sense I mentioned we have the completely integrated accounting. So we know from a marketing program standpoint, you had a marketing program, what are all of the invoices that were associated with that marketing program. So we can track the cost at a very detailed level to tell you what is really the return on investment for a particular marketing program.
Well, that's excellent. That I know that's going to be so helpful, coming out, being able to improve that for the users, and I know that they can greatly benefit from it because who doesn't want that more transparency, that more visibility, that more help, right? Anything to be able to help simplify things, the process, integrations. I think it's in a way of saying you could do things 1,000 different ways. And you could say, okay, here I have pen and paper, and then here I'm going to do this in marker, and then here I'm going to do this in blue pen and red. So, I have my computer. So it's a lot of different ways and avenues, but the more you simplify it, the more it just makes it easier for everyone instead of having to go to 50 different places.
Absolutely. And actually, you sort of joke a little bit about sort of pen and paper, but I mean, there's still a lot of folks in this industry that use a lot of that with text in the field. They actually don't have their text using mobile applications. And so they're taking a check from a customer, they're driving it back to the office to deposit at the bank, or they're having invoices sent out from the back office to customers to pay separately rather than taking mobile payments in the field. And so I think from a literal sense, moving from paper to digital is actually an important area. I'll give you another example too, is just from a quality perspective, a lot of these folks in the industry want to have custom forms, right? I want to make sure my electrician goes out that he or she checks all of these things, or my HVAC engineer, I want to check all these things and then make sure you ask about a maintenance agreement at the end, right? And so being able to make that a digital form rather than having a paper form that someone fills out has been something that's made a big difference for a lot of our customers.
Yeah, no, that's good. And like you said, a lot don't have the mobile application and you're still using pen and paper. So, being able to transfer those things over still just makes it easier at the end of the day and having somewhere to go with that information.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Well, Paul, we appreciate it. And as we like to wrap up our segments, we just like to be able to give our guests the opportunity to give us with some parting words of wisdom.
Well, what I would say is, if you're thinking about growing your business, I make sure you have a plan. I know I mentioned the different elements of GLASS before, but what I'd like to part with is just reminding folks what GLASS stands for, because I believe that's an important element of scaling, right? G, goals, have your goals to grow revenue. L, you have to have leads to feed that growth machine. Accountability, take care of your customers so they're repeat customers. Um, S is streamline your operations, and the final S is see yourself in the mirror. And so, whether you choose Successware or not, keep those in mind as you're scaling up. But I think you'll find that Successware uniquely supports you if you choose that journey.
Excellent, excellent. And where can potential customers find you or Successware at?
I appreciate you asking. So I think the easiest way is just find us on the web. If you go to successware.com, so successware.com, there's even an online tour of our application that's easy to take right from the homepage. So we suggest you go there, check it out, see if it's something that's kind of in the zone for you. And if so, there are easy ways to contact us right off the website.
All right, excellent. Well, thanks so much, Paul. We appreciate it.
Thank you, David. I appreciate it.
All right. Everyone, be sure to tune in for the next episode. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Blueprint Boost for Contractors. We hope you found today's insights and strategies valuable for your contracting business. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and please leave us a review. Your feedback helps us bring content that truly matters.